Alright, our third example, solving trig equations. So here we want to solve this trig equation over the interval 0 to 360, so find all the solutions between 0 and 360. Alright, so let's go ahead and get all the trig functions on one side. So I'm going to bring sine x over, so that's sine x tangent x minus sine x equals 0. Alright, so, well, if you look at this, you notice I can factor out a sine x. And so that will leave me with sine x times tangent x minus 1 equals 0. And then I'll set each factor equal to 0. So sine x equals 0, or tangent x minus 1 equals 0. And here we would get tangent x equals 1. Alright, so, well, all we have to do here is just find all the x values that make sine 0, and then all the x values that make tangent 1. Alright, so we just treat it as two different problems. So let's do this one first. So sine x equals 0. Well, if you recall, if you don't remember this, well, just think about the graph of sine. Okay. And so sine, and this is just drawing it in real rough. Okay, so there's the graph of sine. So we can see that the sine is 0 at 0 and at pi, which pi is also 180 degrees because we're in degrees here. And then at 0 here at 2 pi, which is 360. So our solution would be x is equal to 0 degrees and 180 degrees. And so this would be our solution for sine x equals 0. Now you might be wondering, well, it's also 0 here at 360. Why aren't you including that also? Well, if you look, it says solve over the interval 0 to 360. Notice the parenthesis on the 360. That means 360 is not included. So that's why we're not including 360 in the solution. Alright, so now let's look at this. I've got tangent x equals 1. So tangent x is equal to a positive number. Okay, now, well, let's see. So that tells me that our solutions are going to be in the first and third quadrant because that's where tangent's positive. Now, I would encourage you watching any of these videos, examples 3 and on. Okay, that's good if you watch them. But I would really encourage you to go watch the first video and watch the whole thing through. Okay, I think that'll help explain a lot. And then it'll make these videos easier to understand. Alright, so I've got tangent x equals 1, so tangent x is positive 1. So that tells me my solution is in the first quadrant and the third quadrant. Okay, so x, okay, so in the first quadrant, that would be what? 45 degrees. Okay, so that's my solution in the first quadrant, and not only is that my solution in the first quadrant, 45 degrees is also my reference angle. Okay, and I'm going to use the reference angle to find my third quadrant angle. Okay, so here, my third quadrant angle, we'll call this x. Well, there's my reference angle, 45 degrees. So I get x equals, well, that's 180 plus the reference angle. So 180 plus 45, so that's going to be 225 degrees. And there's my solutions between 0 and 360 for that part. Now, I know some of you may be saying, well, you don't have to use the reference angle there because that's one of the ones we memorize on the unit circle. Okay? Yeah. Okay. I don't think it's that good of an idea to memorize the unit circle because your teacher can easily give you a problem where the angle is not going to be on the unit circle. So the best way to solve these trig equations is using reference angles and not memorizing that unit circle. Okay, if your teacher wants you to memorize a unit circle, memorize it so you can reproduce it for them on the test. That's fine. But when you're solving trigonometric equations, you want to find all your solutions using reference angles. Because what if this was tangent x equals 0.32? Okay, well, what are you going to do then? Well, you'll have to find your first quadrant angle, and then you'll have to use that to find your third quadrant. You'll have to use your reference angle to find your third quadrant angle, because that wouldn't be on a unit circle. So I'm telling you, the best way to learn these is using reference angles to find all your angles from 0 to 360. Okay? Alright, so hope this helped. Don't forget to like and subscribe and check out my other videos. Thanks.